You know we're here about
I don't think you know what you're here for.
Well, you the one talking about.
I think your fake eyelashes are messing up.
No, ain't nothing.
Hold on.
Well, how dare you attack the physical appearance of another person? Are your feelings hurt? Her words down. Oh, girl, baby girl. Oh, really? Don't even play, baby girl. We are gonna move and we're gonna take your words down.
I second that motion.
I'm just curious, just to better understand your ruling. If someone on this committee then starts talking about somebody's bleach blonde, bad built butch body, that would not be engaging in personalities, correct?
What now?
Chairman, I make a motion to strike those words.
I don't think that's
Hold on. I'm trying to find clarification on what clause.
Chairman, motion to strike those words.
I what you just said.
Hey everyone, it has been a while since I've posted and I hope your spring semester is coming to a peaceful end. I wanted to weigh in on what we just watched in regard to the recent drama with U.S. Congresswomen Marjorie Taylor Greene and Jasmine Crockett. You just heard the exchange and it is pretty appalling to say the least. Particularly due to the high level of professionalism that we would expect from elected representatives. The inappropriate exchange starts when Representative Greene makes reference to Representative Crockett's eyelashes. And then you hear in the background where Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is actually reprimanding Representative Greene for those comments. Then the scene cuts to Representative Crockett, and then she proceeds to respond to the insult with the now infamous alliteration insult, which I will refrain from repeating here. What I didn't show is the clip of the argument that ensued afterwards, which really highlights and focuses in on Representative Crockett's response. And that clip is circulating all over social media. Which brings me to this video's discussion of workplace bullying, harassment, how to identify and deal with it in real time, how to follow up after incidents, particularly for academics. This video is especially pertinent for people with marginalized identities because unfortunately, the rules of conduct are not the same for all of us. Let's jump right into it. Number one, identifying bullying and harassment in the workplace. So first of all, it's really important to be able to identify bullying and harassment so that you can properly mitigate these interactions so that they don't occur in the future. Bullying in academia can show up as someone making a rude or inappropriate remark about your protected characteristics like age, ethnicity, or your disability status, or unfairly assigning more tasks to a person than someone else in the case of a supervisor-supervisee relationship. Or bullying can show up as derogatory remarks that are made toward a person at work in general. This behavior devolves into harassment when it happens consistently from one person or a group of people. Okay, so bullying can be one-off, and then consistent bullying becomes harassment. It's also important to recognize that bullying and harassment can happen in person or digitally via email and social media. So it's important to keep up with our employee training so that we have the knowledge to be able to identify situations where bullying is happening to ourselves or to someone else. In the case of Representative Greene, she was clearly bullying Representative Crockett by making a completely unnecessary and mean-spirited comment about Representative Crockett's appearance. Now, dealing with bullying in real time. Personally, my go-to response to a bully in the moment is to say absolutely nothing, to not respond at all, particularly when I don't have to interact with that person very often, so the likelihood of it happening again is slim to none. I don't engage. I don't engage because I don't think it's my job to correct the bad behaviors of other adults in the workplace. So if it's a one-off offense that was likely a miscommunication, I usually let it go because everyone deserves grace at work. They may be having a bad day. But when the comment is apparently hostile, obviously hostile, threatens my well-being or my safety, that is the situation that will cause me to document the incident in a formal way and or report it to the appropriate supervisor. I recommend that anyone who is experiencing bullying in academia to keep a log of the interactions that you perceive as bullying. Log the date, the time, the location, the people involved, because we will tend to forget the details of these incidents. After a while, the details get fuzzy. So I recommend recording it right after it happens. It's also important to keep an accurate account of workplace experiences in the event that the behavior escalates, which will necessitate a detailed report to be given to the appropriate office that handles third-party interactions. In the event that the do not engage approach doesn't work for you and you want to actually correct that person's behavior in real time, some of the things that I've heard other people say in these situations are, what you said makes me uncomfortable. So if someone perceives that they're being bullied, they simply say that, hey, what you're saying makes me uncomfortable, which puts the person on the spot immediately and it corrects the behavior immediately. I've also heard people ask, I don't understand what you mean by that. Can you please explain? And so by asking the person that is being perceived as bullying to explain what they meant, it gives them the opportunity to either double down or correct themselves. If you're not sure if what was said was intentionally harmful, or you want to give the person a chance to self-correct and clear the air, you can just ask them to explain what they meant. This response and the other responses that I just talked about are usually provided to us in the training that we have to do. So it's recommended to us in our yearly training, particularly for faculty, staff, and people that are employed as researchers. In Representative Crockett's case, I personally would not have responded to Representative Green. I would have kept it quiet, moved on with business, and filed a formal complaint about her behavior later. Now we can see that in the aftermath of the exchange, the majority of the focus is being placed on Representative Crockett's behavior instead of on Representative Green's behavior. Now they're both being scrutinized, even though Representative Crockett was within her right to stand up for herself. But now the behavior that she exhibited when standing up for herself is under scrutiny. Not only that, everyone seems to be focusing on the main clip that's being circulated of Representative Crockett yelling during the meeting and raising her voice. And then you'll see Representative Green telling her to calm down after she started the incident. So unfortunately, we live in a world that levies an additional tax on women and people of color for their quote-unquote perceived bad behavior, regardless of whether we were acting in self-defense or not. In these situations, as people with marginalized identities in academia and STEM in particular, I recommend that we really just try to remain blameless in the situations where bullying occurs at work, because 9 times out of 10, we will likely be scapegoated or blamed for the interactions to begin with. You could just simply be walking down the hall, minding your business, and someone goes off on you for no reason. So in that case, I recommend you don't engage verbally and just document your experience. I am speaking from experience of unprovoked harassment and bullying in the workplace, which segues us into a discussion about harassment. Harassment is the habitual bullying and workplace aggression and hostility that may be exhibited by one person or a group of people. Harassment is being habitually subjected to unwanted interactions and behavior at work. So harassment occurs when it's no longer a one-off situation and the behavior is beginning to impact your mental and or physical well-being and safety. In the case of harassment, I strongly recommend following the procedures that are set forth your local Title IX office. It is extremely important in the case of harassment to record or have a record of the interactions digitally so that there is evidence of your experience to report with a third party. In the case where legal action needs to take place, you will already have a documented record of the harassment to support your case. These are serious matters, and so your documentation is extremely important, and the intervention with Title IX is critical. I'm ending this video by saying that no one deserves to go to work and be belittled or bullied or harassed. I have experienced bullying throughout every stage of my academic career, and I try my best not to engage in bullying behavior or let other people's bad behavior interfere with my professional mission. I am not beyond reproach. I am also very self-critical of my own potential biases and behavior that may be perceived as bullying. And if those situations come up, I try my best to rectify any situation that may be perceived as bullying and correct the miscommunication. I feel like the more earnestly and humbly we approach our interactions at work, there's less likelihood for this type of conflict. I actually want to end the message also by applauding Representative Ocasio-Cortez for attempting to mediate the conflict as a bystander, which really is difficult in the moment if you have a freeze response to a stressor. I will admit, however, that her response wasn't the smoothest. She did raise her voice. She did get a little bit unprofessional by saying, baby, baby, no. And in this case, I think we can learn a lot from this situation that we just witnessed. As bystanders, we can calmly step in if we feel like another coworker is being mistreated in front of us. It's important that we don't assume what's happening in the situation and accuse someone of bullying when they're not bullying someone, particularly when we're in the bystander position. If you think you're witnessing someone being bullied, you can ask the person that you perceive as being mistreated if they're okay in that moment. If the person says yes or no, you can intervene accordingly based on the bullying responses that we talked about earlier. If you're a bystander and you want to intervene with the person who you perceive as doing the bullying, you can ask the aggressor the same questions that we talked about in terms of the one-off bullying incident. What did you mean by that? I'm uncomfortable with what you just said. It opens the floor for discussion and clearing the air, or the person may double down on their behavior. Lastly, as someone who is bullied all the time within academic spaces, I'm still committed to taking the high road. However, I will not hesitate to protect myself in the workplace and utilize whatever formal procedures are necessary and within my right as an employee to do so. And you have the right to do the same. I wish everyone a pleasant start to the summer. Stay vigilant, and I'll see you in the next video.